Sir, some of the candidates are not present here today and requested that they be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Planning in absentia. Each having satisfied the requirements for the said degree is considered worthy of it. I recommend that each of them be admitted to the said degree in absentia. We plan 2012, Mitashi Singh, Jahar Abdul Jabbar, Ghiwala Nirab Rajendra Kumar, Abhijit Baro. We plan 2013 batch, Singh, Trishub Singh, Dimitri Das, Rini Sharma, Vikisan Naurem, Sujata Parmar, and we plan 2014 batch, Arindam Bari, Parikshit Nema, Muhammad Faiz CP, Miriala Aditya Kaushal, Khirwatkar Talin Sanjay, and Manisha Saxena. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for our B Plant degree recipient. Thank you. Now I request the chairperson of the Senate of SPA Bhopal to award the degrees of Master of Architecture, which is with specialization in urban design, and request the head of architecture to please come forward and present the candidate.
Let the candidates for the award of the degrees of Master of Architecture be presented.
Sir, I present the candidates who, having satisfied the requirements for the degree of Masters of Architecture, are considered worthy of receiving the same. I recommend that they be admitted to the said degree. The candidates of MArch 2012 batch may come forward to receive their degree. Nivedita Yashwant Fadnis. Dushyant Ludhekar. Neha Nikra. Atul Vasudev Lalsare. Nilange Priyanka Ramesh. G. Sanjeev. Bhagilakshmi Ashok Bande. Renjin Cherian Varghese. Divya Pandey. Munali Arun Kumar Jaiswal. The candidates of MArch 2013 batch may come forward to receive their degrees. Shubhalakshmi Bharadwaj. Ritu Nathawat. Jyotika Nigam. Lenin Sachdeva. Dibya Singh Jaina. Kamlesh Kumar Verma. Sneha Vanjari. Shubhang Kashyap. The candidates of MArch 2014 batch may come forward to receive their degrees. Shivam Nayak. Samarth Sharma. Bahiraj Shraddha Dhananjay. Himani Kannaujiya. Apurva Deepak Kulkarni. Pratima Pandey. Rashri Mathur. Patkar Manoj Ramesh. Pratyush Srivastava. Bulbul Shukla. Divya Devendra Gaur. Rohit Ashok Nimje. Sir, some of the candidates are not present here today and requested that they be admitted to the degree of Masters of Architecture in absentia. Each having satisfied the requirements for the said degree is considered worthy of it. I recommend that each of them be admitted to the said degree in absentia. Chakke Harshada Ravindra, Divya Poonam Shrivastava, MArch 2013 batch, Mrityunjay Dubey, MArch 2014 batch, Brahmachari Mayum Lenin Sharma. Thank you, sir.
Please applaud for our MArch degree recipients. Thank you. Now I request the Chairperson Senate of SPA Bhopal to award the degrees of Master of Planning with specialization in urban and regional planning, and request the Head of Planning to please come forward and present the names.
Let the candidates for the award of the degrees of Master of Planning be presented.
Sir, I present the candidates who, having satisfied the requirements for the degree of Master of Planning, are considered worthy of receiving the same. I recommend that they be admitted to the said degree. The candidates of M-Plan 2012 batch may come forward to receive their degrees. Shubhrangshu Upadhyay. Aditi Shahu. Parishar Omkar Gajanan. Ankita Gupta. Lavlin Rai. Anupam Sunil. Manashi Mangalgiri. Jubin Chiran Roy. Preeti Milind Jande. Nishant Tyagi. The candidates of M-Plan 2013 batch may come forward to receive their degrees. Chetan U. Sharma. Azra Khan. Liju Matthew. चंदन बुद्ध भट्टी, सुधीर सिंह शिकरवार, मीता खुराना, संगीता पॉल, शिवांगी दुबे, राकेश कुमार, शाहिल खेमानी, लीना थामड़े। The candidates of Amplan 2012 batch may come forward to receive their degrees. Shakshi Agarwal, Rutika Babarao Ramteke, Sanjeev Kumar, Sneha Rathore, Tapendra Guha, Praveen Dole, Anita Pingle, Praveen Upadhyay, पंकज कुमार, मोहित सोलंकी। Sir, some of the candidates are not present here today and requested that they be admitted to the degree of Master of Planning in absentia. Each having satisfied the requirements for the said degree is considered worthy of it. I recommend that each of them be admitted to the said degree in absentia. Amplan 2012 Harinarayan, Binit Srivastava, Manika Shukla, Angita Das, Amplan 2013 batch, Kanchan Jadhav, Nupur Srivastava, and Amplan 2014 batch, Shuman Shourabh, Drishti Gupta, Megha Gupta, and Gitika Bharma. Thank you, sir.
You may now please applaud for all degree recipients. All degree recipients are requested to please rise on your places. Sir.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as the chairperson of Senate of the School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal, I do hereby admit each of the Master of Architecture candidates to the said degree, each of the Master of Planning candidates to the said degree, each of the Bachelor of Architecture candidates to the said degree, each of the Bachelor of Planning candidates to the said degree. I charge them all to prove worthy of their degrees throughout their life.
You may now sit down. Sir.
Let the record of the degrees be presented to the chairperson, Board of Governors for her signature.
Show it to the audience. Now all the degree recipients, please rise once again for taking a pledge. Kindly open your degree folders, take them in your hand and remain standing.
We, the graduates of the School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal, hereby pledge
Please read.
that we shall always endeavor to be scrupulously honest in the discharge of our duties as architects and planners, that we shall always endeavor to utilize our knowledge of architecture and planning for the services of our country and the glory of our institute, that in all circumstances we shall try to uphold the dignity of the individual and the integrity of the profession, that we shall in word and deed guard against all narrow loyalties and sectarian prejudices, and cherish with pride and integrity and unity of our country.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, sir. Now the most awaited moment. I request the Madam Chairperson of SPA Bhopal. You may please sit down. I request the Madam Chairperson of Board of Governors of SPA Bhopal to please join the Director, sir, to award the gold medals to gold medal winners. Madam, I present the following candidates who have been declared winners of the Proficiency Gold Medals for the year 2012 for the best academic performance. Devya Poonam Srivastav for MR Urban Design and Ankita Das for MPlan MURP are not present here. Sanjeev Kumar for Bachelor of Planning. Jyotika Nigam for the program of urban design. Now you don't need to actually, please. Azra Khan for urban and regional planning. Mr. Bharat Viz for Bachelor of Architecture. Mr. Ankur Diwan for Bachelor of Planning. Madam, now I present the other candidates for year 2014 for the best academic performance. Bahirath Shraddha Dhananjay for Urban Design Program. Sakshi Agrawal for Urban and Regional Planning Program. Please do not forget to take your certificate. Miss Isha Jaiswal for Bachelor of Architecture degree program. And Mr. Kanad Pankaj for Bachelor of Planning program. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, sir. Honorable Chairperson of Board of Governors, to kindly introduce the chief guest of our first convocation and invite him for delivering the convocation address.
It is my privilege and my pleasure to introduce the chief guest to the first convocation of the School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal, the Honorable Member of Niti Aayog, Dr. Vijay Kumar Saraswati ji. Thank you for being here. A brief introduction. Dr. Vijay Kumar Saraswat is India's most gifted scientist and is an accomplished researcher with more than 4 decades of experience spanning over several fields and areas in both basic and applied sciences of defense research. Apart from being a scientist, he is a rare combination of an innovator, a technologist, and a visionary. Born in Gwalior on 25th May 1949, Dr. Saraswat completed his engineering from Gwalior, his Masters of Engineering from IISc Bangalore, followed by a PhD from Osmania University. During his illustrious career, from scientist to the scientific advisor to the defense minister, from director to the Director General of DRDO and secretary to the Department of Defense R&D, Dr. Saraswat has been credited with the indigenous development of liquid propulsion rocket engines and missiles, namely Prithvi, Dhanush, and Prahar. He is the principal architect of the Ballistic Missile Defense Program, which includes major technology breakthroughs. The successive interceptions of incoming target ballistic missiles at exo and endo atmospheres are a testimony to his dedicated efforts and exploitation of limited technological resources. With this, India has joined the select nations that have the capability to develop BMD systems. Dr. Saraswat has brought new dimensions to the strategic defense scenario through successful test firing of Agni 5, Shaurya, initial operation clearance for light combat aircraft, Tejas, and the induction of INS Arihant. Thus, today, the nation can boast of reaching any shores in the world with the nuclear-capable missiles that have different strike ranges. Under DRDO provided the technologies developed by them for societal benefits, namely solar-powered modular green shelters, biodigesters, AHAR programs, explosive detection kits, diagnostic units for dengue and chikungunya. Dr. Saraswat's pioneering efforts have taken shape into the establishment of the Research and Innovation Center at IIE Madras, a Millet Center for Training Needs of Armed Forces on S&T, CERT for reporting, auditing, and handling emergency response of information security incidents, and CHESS, Futuristic Technology Center for High Energy Laser and Microwave Devices. In the Kyrgyz-Indian Mountain Biomedical Research Center at Kyrgyzstan, he has also done work. The new International Airport and Aerospace CES at Hyderabad, and Advanced Combustion Research Centers at IISc and IIT Madras have all benefited from his work and his research. Till recently, Dr. Saraswat was DAE Homi Bhabha Chair and initiated development of technologies in the country for energy security, namely biomass, solid waste management, fuel cells, concentrated solar power, multi-junction photovoltaic cells, clean coal technologies, and many other in the same categories. All these at various industrial and academic institutions have benefited from him, in addition to bringing new dimensions to aerospace manufacturing. Dr. Saraswat is the recipient of many national and international awards, including being conferred the Padma Bhushan in 2013, and this was previously he was conferred the Padma Shri in 1998. Dr. Saraswat is a fellow and member of many professional bodies, such as the International Academy of Engineering in Russia, where he was elected as a member of the Academy, and they honored him as an academician in 2007. He is also a fellow of the Indian Academy of Engineering. Honoris causa has been conferred upon Dr. Saraswat from about 18 universities, including the Andhra Pradesh University at Vizag and the NIT in Surat. He has also authored and presented several papers for national and international level journals and at seminars and conferences. He has guided 8 PhD scholars. Dr. Saraswat is presently the member of Niti Aayog and is shouldering many honorary positions in government and academic institutions. I now request Dr. Saraswati ji to kindly give us the convocation address. Thank you.
Namaskar, good afternoon. I am extremely delighted to participate in the first convocation of this prestigious institution, School of Planning and Architecture at Bhopal. Bhopal being very close to my heart because I was born in Gwalior and I spent many summers in this city. I take this occasion to greet the Chairman, Board of Governors, Mrs. Sunita Kohli, Director Dr. Vinod Singh, all esteemed faculty members, students, parents, distinguished guests. I also take this opportunity to congratulate all the faculty members, students and staff of this institution, and all those who have contributed in promoting good educational standards in this institute. My heartiest congratulations to the graduating students who are passing out from the portals of this institution. As you walk into the open world, you will realize the strength you have gained through the quality of education imparted to you by this dedicated faculty of world class. I also take the opportunity to congratulate and greet the parents of all the graduating students who have provided them the ambience, the courage, and the ecosystem to graduate today and be a worthy citizen of this country. My dear young graduates, you are graduating at a time when our nation is surging towards progress in all fields. The knowledge that you have gained, the opportunities and the options that you have affords you the freedom to choose your area of interest. The choice many of your previous generations did not have. You are empowered by knowledge and now have to fortify it with your personal qualities like honesty, hard work, sincerity, and integrity, and to top it all with a sense of pride to serve the nation. I am quite confident that you will have the most rewarding experience in the years to come. Friends, knowledge is the foundation on which India needs to build and grow. Who else could help India if not you, young planners and engineers with right qualifications? Quality education is the foundation on which India must build her destiny. Our country is built with intellectuals, brains, and students are the country's future. Inculcating the right values is as important as nurturing their academic excellence. On this momentous occasion in your life, I would like to share some thoughts for your personality development. Friends, if you want to gain true success in your life as techno-managers, you must inculcate some abilities to remain competitive in this dynamic world. First and foremost, I would suggest that there is nothing can be done unless you are creative. Enhance your thought process and learn to innovate. In today's competitive world, only those who have original ideas will survive. Depend on your own work and intuition rather than borrowing others' ideas. Be curious and observe things carefully. There is no end to the learning process. With the academic distinction you are receiving today, you are already a proven learner. Continue your learning into future and let the learning curve scale up year by year as you progress. Be enthusiastic in your work. Remember that perpetual cheerfulness is a force multiplier and you will be motivating many others with your enthusiasm. Never get upset and run away from problems. You are armed with knowledge and confidence to face and solve the problems. Break any problem into smaller problems, get the solutions into its parts, and then integrate the solutions to obtain the solution of the whole. In the universe, there are always existing a solution for every problem, and remember that no lock has been made without a key. Set your goals clearly and work to achieve them. Without goals, your voyage would be lost in the sea without a compass. Maintain your focus on the end goal while keeping an eye on the critical issues. It is very important to win the war, not only the battle. Be ethical and maintain highest standards of professional excellence and personal integrity. You are all bestowed with high intelligence quotients. It is equally vital to develop the emotional and the spiritual quotient. Move ahead with grit and determination despite the minor hurdles and failures that you may encounter in your path to success. Fear of failure is the greatest single obstacle to the success in life. Lead from front, setting an example and striving to serve others. Develop empathy and concern for others. Try to find happiness in the success of others and learn to share credit. Be wise in choosing. Every choice matters. Choice is the most powerful tool that you have in your lives. It enables you to go from who you are today to who you want to be tomorrow. Improve the decision-making capabilities through risk assessment. Remember that risk and returns often move together. Avoid catastrophes through analytical thinking. As engineers and planners, you all must know what you should not do before you learn what you should do. Always question why and how. Assume full responsibility and take lead in showing the direction to others. Learn entrepreneurship. Learn how your knowledge can be put to the best use. Engineering is the application of scientific knowledge. Bridge the gap between science and technology through innovative ideas. Inculcate the habit of design, build, and test methodologies to get complete first-hand information and knowledge of all products. Learn to model and simulate before you realize the product. You recreate many unknown scenarios and their cascading effect on others without losing time and money. It's a very strong tool. These are some of the facets I thought you should all nurture in your life in the years to come. But friends, you are all planners. You are graduating as architects, planners, and engineers. You have a great responsibility, and that responsibility of making this planet Earth not only useful and livable for you, but for the future generations. And in this process, the most important aspect is the role of science and technology in sustainable development. I heard Dr. Vinod Singh talking about the curriculum in which you are being taught many of these subjects, but it is the integration of all of them on all those aspects which are very important. If we take stock of the growth of technology on a time scale over the centuries and understand its human impact, we will realize that we have to give equal importance to each and every segment of technology for the security and well-being of our mighty nation. Be it national security, energy security, space security, economic security and growth, biodiversity, environment, living standards which include food security and healthcare. And each one of these hinges on the basic premise that is a knowledge economy and sustainability. Both go together. The phenomenal growth that changed the lifestyle of humans in the past 2 centuries has been primarily due to the ability to change the forms of energy from one to the other. This has led to industrial revolution, thus leading to rapid economic and scientific expansion. But this also came with the cost of high utilization of energy and high consumption. As the sources of energy are getting limited, we need to improve the efficiencies, and question arises how to sustain this. The divide that exists between the rich and the poor countries, the developed and the developing countries was mainly due to the ability to put effective use of energy and technology that led to industrial revolution and prosperity. Today, to maintain the economic edge over others, the technology is denied in every discipline of science, including medicine. As we learn to manipulate the nature, resources to meet our comforts, the dynamic nature of this universe forces balancing changes that pose difficulties in different forms. The vulnerability of humans has also increased with economic development and globalization that are fast depleting our resources and affecting ecology. How do we sustain the development without affecting the nature? That's the question, that's the direction in which we have to look at. Sustainability implies meeting the current human needs while preserving the environment and natural resources needed by our future generations. The perceptions of sustainability vary across regions and nations. However, as per the broad agreement globally, the goal of sustainability is to foster a transition towards development paths that meet human needs while preserving the Earth's life support systems and alleviating hunger and poverty. That is, sustainability integrates three pillars, that is environmental, social, and economic pursuits. In the wake of changing technological, environmental, social, and economic conditions, it is necessary that we should reorient ourselves from development to sustainable development. The role of science and technology in sustainable development is viewed in new way with emphasis on technology for empowerment like education, information, communication, and environmental sustainability like sustainable agriculture, clean and renewable energy, improved resource efficiency, smart cities, green growth, and whatnot. The focus of technologies in sustainable development is not the point, it is the whole system. That knowledge is strength is well-known fact. The progress of a nation is quantified by its achievements in science and technology. We are ideally poised to become a knowledge power with a large resource of intellectuals, high-caliber academicians and scientists, and a growing middle class who have assigned top priority to education. Here I would like to quote what our Honorable former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh had said. It is our scientific capabilities that will determine our ability to overcome challenges which lie ahead in areas such as climate change, clean energy, environment-friendly technologies, water management, affordable healthcare, food security, urbanization, and solution must be found in timely manner and then must move out of the laboratory quickly and find wider acceptance, unquote. This was the view of Prime Minister on sustainable development. Actually, the engineers and planners of this century have to play a major role. The dawn of the new era, that is the 21st century, world has presented greater demands on engineers and planners than ever before. They are faced with challenge of performing in a global environment with ever-changing business models, shorter product life cycles, competitive conditions, and uncertainties and emphasis on sustainability and sustainable development. This requires special effort to include social, economical, and environmental features in the development path. As engineers create and build new products and systems with better technologies and processes, they will be at forefront of change and are required to lead the change process. To lead the change process, the planners and engineers are required to have a vision for the future under complexities of global competition. Foremost in this vision would be the challenges of meeting the needs of 120 crore people in the environment of scarce and limited resources. As the nation is expanding and the results are required faster, the engineers and planners face challenges of acquiring, developing, innovating suitable and appropriate technologies and resource production and distribution of goods and services and creating smart cities. In this direction, actually, United Nations has identified for achieving the goal of sustainability 6 major transformations. What are those transformations? Let us look at them. The UN says that an energy revolution has to be brought in, which will bring down the percentage of carbon dioxide emissions by more than 80%. All this has to happen by 2050. A food system transformation where you will have to produce another 70% extra food. Achieve sustainable living. You have to accept that this planet Earth is going to be urban. and we have to create ecosystem that will promote urban living. We in India are talking about Pura, providing urban amenities to the rural areas. So ultimately taking the growth from what is happening in the urban areas to the rural areas. Adapting and preparing yourself for the world of 9 billion people, the population growth which is taking place. With all the efforts what we have, still this growth, by 2050 we had to ensure, we had to face 9 billion. Protect, restore and sustain biodiversity. Strengthen global governance, public-private partnership, and to top it all, bring inclusiveness. These are the 6 major transformations. Engineers, planners, and all are required to work on the path of sustainability to achieve these transformations. Now, how do we get these transformations? That's the point which we have to debate. That can be done if we change our tack from the today's development goals, development paths to sustainable development. And what are the tools that will enable you to achieve that kind of a sustainability? Tools will be technology and human resources. And in that process, the vehicle will be innovation, creativity, and to top it all, the best human resource which will be educated and trained in the direction so that all the 3 pillars of sustainability are taken care of. And that's the transformation of engineering from today's engineering, today's planning to sustainable engineering and planning. What are the differences between today's system and what kind of a thing will happen when we go from today's system to the futuristic sustainable system? If you take today, we only consider an object. But in sustainability, you will consider not an object, but the whole system as a whole. Today, we will only worry about technical issues. Only functionality I am worried about of a particular system. It should perform functions. I don't bother about what are its adverse impacts. Whereas sustainable development will include technical and non-technical issues. Today, we will solve a problem. If somebody is hungry, we will give him food. But we don't know what will happen to him after that fellow eats the food, what will happen to him when he doesn't have food tomorrow. Whereas the sustainable developer or a planner or an engineer will strive to solve the problem for indefinite future, that is forever. You will always today think only in the local context, whereas a sustainable guy would look at global context. We always think that things like politics, ethics, and social issues are not my problem. These are problems of somebody else. Whereas a sustainable engineer or a planner will say that all these needs have to be taken care of, and I'll bring the expertise from other disciplines to find solutions which will not have adverse effect on the other disciplines. That means if we are looking for sustainable development, today's engineers and planners have to adopt what we call as a complete life cycle approach to product development. I bring in product development because product is an entity which can be a product which can be used today or a plan which can be converted into a product. We have to integrate technical and non-technical issues. Take, for example, the production of a development of a product today. As an engineer, I used to only worry about 3 parts. I should get material, I should manufacture some product after that, I should use that material, that product. What happens, how that material came, and what happened to the product after it is used was never my concern. And that's why you have all the adverse effect. In the sustainable development, this transition is taking place, and that we call is 3R to 6R transition. That means pre-manufacturing. How did you get the material? Material extraction, material processing. Manufacturing, of course, there are assets of manufacturing which are related to sustainability, we will discuss. Use and post-use, that means retirement and treatment of the product and its disposal. That means we are now working instead of a 3R, we are working for a 6R. What are the 6R processes? Once the product is used, recover, recycle, redesign, reduce, and remanufacture. If you have to do that, you will be in a position to now reduce your material consumption. You will bring consumption to a lowest level. Your resources will be minimum. And ultimately, you guys will be reaching to the portals of what we call as the circular economy. And that's the way the economic growth will take place, where the consumption will be minimum. Planet Earth will not have to face the depleting resources as we are having today. Friends, this will not happen only during manufacturing stage. It has to happen at the planning stage. It has to happen at the design stage. So when you design a product or you evolve a plan, you have to design or plan for the functionality so that it meets all the optimum parameters for the functionality requirement of the product. You have to design it for manufacturability. You have to design it for minimum environmental impact. We have to design for minimum resource utilization in terms of energy and material. And we have to design for recyclability and remanufacturability. And we have to make sure that its social impact is minimum. You should have operational safety, you should have personal safety, you should have ethical responsibility in going through the process of realization and its marketing, and it should not leave any health effects. For example, many of you are planners today here. I would like to share with you my personal experiences in this direction. I have lived in Hyderabad for 40 years. I realized the roads and buildings which were built in the Nizam's era, when the population was less than 10 lakhs, were more than adequate, and there was absolute peace and tranquility in terms of livability. Population explosion took place, new expanded cities, we built new roads, but then all that planning is worse than the planning which was done by our predecessors in that place. Today we have 6-lane roads, but half the roads are occupied by the shops and all those things. Now the planning process has to cater for the expanded economy and also have to make sure that parking, traffic, sanitation, hygiene, all have to be integrated in your process of planning for rapid transportation. I saw today BRT system in Bhopal. I personally believe that is a total misfit as far as the road width is concerned. You are giving almost 35% of your road width, and on the both sides where the traffic is there, and that 35% is used only 10% of the time in the day, whereas the most of the two sides are now occupied by the parking vehicles or the hawkers and so on. Is BRT the right solution for you? That's the type of thinking you have to do when you really look for. So all that planning process has to take care of is the environmental effect, pollution effect, accidental safety, and expanding growth. If you have to do manufacturing, you have to see that manufacturing process is minimum usage of the material, minimum wastage, the term is lean manufacturing. Minimum energy consumption, environmentally friendly, that's why we call now green manufacturing. And from lean to green, we are now going to what is called sustainable manufacturing. And we have to reduce supply chain. We have to go for new technologies like additive manufacturing, 3D printing, smart manufacturing, and so on. All this will, if you introduce technologically, you will be in a position to bring in what we call as the balance between the three pillars as we are talking of. That means the factories of today and tomorrow will transit from sustainable process of manufacturing, minimum carbon footprint, use green logistics, includes remanufacturing and recycling as one of the basic elements in its process, no pollution, use minimum energy and materials, embeds complete product life cycle approach, and minimum waste. And today, India has got a major program to convert our cities, 100 cities to be converted into smart cities. Obviously, smart cities is not just having good buildings. It is completely achieving all these aspects, starting from the safety, the transportation, the healthcare, all these aspects. And of course, ICT has to be used extensively to convert them into a smart city. That is where the planning process will start. How do you bring in all this? The most important thing is to integrate this in the education process. And the education process, unless it has the emphasis and the inclusion of all these features, will not be suitable and will not convert you into a sustainable developer or a planner. That's why academic curriculum should include sustainability elements. Your student life, right from the day you come into the study process, even the life process you have to have. All the research which you gentlemen and ladies are doing should have a major emphasis on sustainable development. Professional development, as you grow from here, you have to make sure that these elements are part of your thinking process and execution process. You will be working on various missions. You will be planning for maybe country, maybe somewhere. All the mission operations and planning will have to embed whatever you have learned on this from the point of view of sustainability. When you have your process of community outreach and partnership programs, that will also involve these features. And I personally believe that all this uniformity can come if we can bring in a legislation. Finally, through a legislative process, we can introduce sustainability, because it sometimes, why sometimes? Most of the times it has to be two-way process, the top-down and the bottom-up approach, and that will happen. So education is the key driver for this transformation from today's development to the sustainable development. For this, ladies and gentlemen, you have to develop some basic skills. And what are those skills? Strong analytical skills. You have to have creativity, good communication skills, excellent leadership abilities. You should have great management skills, mission management. Dr. Kalam always says that anything which you want to do, it should be in a mission mode. And mission mode will happen if you have skills to do mission management. You should be highly professional, high ethical standards. Because of the changing scenario every time, dynamic, agile, resilient, and flexible personality. Lifelong learner. Actually, the word today is not just lifelong learner. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. That is the process which you have to follow. And all the problems which you should be solving, they should be in a socio-technical and operational context. This will not happen just like that, unless this would require considerable change in the core curriculum and transforming the path of science and engineering through education to education through science and engineering. Please see the difference. Wherein the emphasis would be on, again, the three pillars, that is ecocentricity, sociocentricity, and techno-economic centricity. And then you will be called an adaptive leader of sustainability. What technologies we should take now? What technologies will take us close to the sustainability? We have to do it the nature's way. The way nature has created and it has performed in all elements. If we take the nature's way, then you will be going closer to the sustainable path of development. Design products the way nature has done. Gentlemen, you have been seeing the flight of the birds from time immemorial. And that has actually made us to design aircrafts. See the bird fly and see the aircraft fly. Bird uses muscle power, no pollution, no noise. We have designed aircraft, tons of metal, tons of fuel we are guzzling, polluting environment with that, noise pollution, and then you have that aircraft, which requires operation and maintenance throughout its life cycle, a costly affair, consuming lots of products. Let's change our tech. Let's design an aircraft which will be having flapping wings, which will use minimum energy. Even if uses a propulsion system, let's use green propulsion. Let's reduce noise. Let us bring in active control. Let us plan our airports and airlines in such a manner that it functions more efficiently without causing disturbance to the nation and to the planet. If you do that, you have to change your track. You have to migrate from today's engineering to bioengineering, molecular engineering, information and cognitive technologies to replicate the mechanisms that exist in the nature. Actually, it is the convergence of bio, nano, and communication and ICT, which is the future of technology tomorrow. Many engineers, many planners would like to simply conceptualize and live with it. No. You have to go back to your old pattern where you used to do what is called design, conceptualize, simulate, manufacture, test and evaluate, and repeat the cycle till you meet all the goals of functionality and sustainability. Then only you will be able to use the correct use of this technology. In your life, you will be faced with many cases where you have to make technology choices. How do you make a choice of technology? Technology choice should be such that it leaves no net impact and meet the needs of the terms of affluence. That means its basic needs are met and it does not leave any negative impact. That's the technology which is most preferred. Any technology that provides luxury but leaves high net negative impact should be shunned. It is between these two corners that one has to show, as a sustainable leader, your capability to choose the technologies. Today we are talking of choosing what should be our path for getting the energy. So many people say we should take solar energy, somebody says wind energy, somebody says biomass. We have to always make those choices based upon the net impact it will have. Similarly, all this will be required when you go into your planning process for city infrastructure, housing, transport, healthcare, manufacturing services, waste management, environmental impact, and ultimately when you take decisions for inclusiveness. For that, we need leaders like you who will have to take certain leadership qualities that have to be embedded in them. A sustainable leader would be one which will provide resources to promote creativity and innovation. Around you, you should create an ambience which will create innovation. It will facilitate sustainable resources and outcomes. Knows how to work with conflict, tensions, and expansion. Invites diverse voices and opinions. Generally, people don't like to listen to opposite views. No, there may be solution lying with when you listen to the diverse views. Invite such views. Collaborate for optimal impact. Learn, unlearn, and learn. Cultivate inclusion. Values contributions to the betterment of mankind. And uphold highest ethical standard. Such a leader is a sustainable leader. He is also called a servant leader. What we need is a servant leader for employees, for customers, and community. In the end, I would like to take you to one very important aspect, and that will probably in my life it has fetched rich dividend in your life, but it's a suggestion you may not take. It is spirituality and sustainability. If they are looked together, they will form a very, very potent combination for solving problems. How do I learn this? From where did I learn this? Actually, if you look at the world, God created the biological or the natural world. We men created an artificial world by using or misusing technology advances. Artificial world is embedded in the biological world. But the biological world is developing slowly. It has its own ecosystem, earth, plant, ocean, sky, all that. And of course, the man or the living beings are part of this hyperspace. Whereas the artificial world is growing very fast. So because they are one inside the other, both are under tremendous strain. And this, as per Luttman, is called the ecological dilemma of the present age. Now, this particular tension is happening because there is no communication, either within the artificial world or between the two worlds. Biological world at least have some organizing methods to the ecological relationship between space, earth, and living beings. But artificial world, who has in its hyperspace society, science, technology, and economy. And these four pillars, they move in different directions. And that is why what you have today, because there is no communication among these four elements, that you find human environments are turbulent. You have fractured societies and increasing conflicts. You have consumerist societies leading to environmental hazards. Question is, how do you bring communication within these worlds and also inside each world? How do you do that? Who is the common man? Who is the common factor? Man is the common factor between these two worlds and within the system. So it is men and women like us or you who have to find methods of or a common language of communication. Engineers, planners have to use the language of sustainability and follow the Shastra perspective to establish the communication and maintain this equilibrium. Shastra includes what? Spirituality, ethics, and professionalism. If you follow this, you will be in a position to get what you call as a sustainable part. In the end, I would like to say, people generally say, how do you get it? As I mentioned to you, education is the only mode by which you can achieve all these goals. The need of the hour is to use education for sustainable development. It is the potent lever. And the only indicator of this education for sustainable development is not footprint, it is the handprint. Handprint is the measure. So, indulge in action, that decreases the human footprint. Friends, let us join to increase our handprint through innovation, creativity, and education, and create sustainable planet. Increase your handprint and decrease your footprint. That will be my mantra. In the end, I would like to once again congratulate the graduating students and thank Dr. Vinod Singh for inviting me to this convocation and offering me the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. Wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Sir, on behalf of the Institute and graduating batch, we thank you for taking the time to address our graduating batches. As a mark of our appreciation and gratitude to the chief guest for sparing his valuable time and participating in our convocation ceremony, I request the director, Professor Vinod Kumar Singh, to present a memento to him. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause. As a mark of our appreciation to our Honorable Chairperson, I request the Director, Professor Vinod Kumar Singh, to present a memento to her. Now I request our Chairperson, Madam, to please declare the convocation closed.
I want to personally thank our chief guest for this absolutely inspiring convocation address, and I hope that this will become an aspiration for all our graduates today. I now declare closed the first convocation of the School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. Thank you.
Thank you. All present here, please rise for national anthem and please remain standing until the procession leaves the hall as per the route, designated route.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे Jai